welcome back to my channel. So I am super excited to be able to provide an update for you on my Sakizo build and where I plan to take it from here. So as it's been for the past like 2 months, I'm still working on all of the hand beading on my panels. I've started the beading on the 4th panel. And looking at the dress, as I've mentioned before, I've lost about 35 pounds since I started this project, and I had to take the skirt in quite a bit. So I might be able to get away with 6 panels instead of 7. So once I make the 6th one, I think I might add the gold onto the backing of all of that so that I can see exactly how they fit and determine whether or not I need the 7th one. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what the panels look like on the dress right now. Technically speaking, 2 of the panels are not finished. I haven't glued the gems on it yet, but all of the beading is done. So let me go ahead and show you what it looks like because it just feels really good to see it on the gown itself. So we have the smocking in the front. There will be another panel here. And then here is my moral support panel, the one I'm not going to use, but is here to make me feel better about my creation. And then here's the next panel. You can see how they drape nicely over the velvet, and you can get a good picture of how it's all starting to come together. The gaping here, the reason why they're not touching is because there is this gold that's going to be here, but so I sort of space them out a little bit, which is why I think I'm going to, once I get the 6th panel done, I think I'm going to add all of the gold to the back of the panel so I get a real idea of how many more I need. But you can get a nice glimpse of how this dress is turning out with the panels. Very excited, and I keep them hung up on the dress specifically for moral support to keep me going. But I think I got the proportion of the skirt correct, and I love the size of the panels and the size of the embroidery. So all of that, I think, fits the vision I was going for when recreating this outfit. So still a bunch of work to do on that, but I am making progress. And then the way I've been breaking up the monotony of working on this beading so I don't feel super like bummed out has been working on the leather corset. So I've been working on the painting. I got the cream color. It matches really well to the cream of the fabric of the smocking on the front of the skirt. I mixed the colors specifically so that they would match, and I'm pretty happy with how the color turned out. And then I took some gold leather paint and painted the stripes gold and the little half moon shapes that I made to have them pop a little bit more. And then the plan is to go in and add gold leaf into the other finer details and gems. And I'll show you all that in just a second, because first I want to talk about my struggle with this corset. So I have been struggling with my material choice. So I decided to make it leather because I wanted it, since she has an armored gauntlet on one arm, I thought that this underbust corset part would look nice as a little bit of armor, so we have more than just the gauntlet that she's wearing. So I'm making the gauntlet and the corset out of leather. And I've worked over the past few months to make my own pattern and cut it out and tool it. And I used a really thick leather recommended to me by one of the employees at Tandy Leather because I did not want to use boning in the leather. I wanted it to hold up on its own. And I guess I just didn't anticipate how incredibly difficult working with super thick leather is. It hurts my hand quite a bit. I don't think I've ever disclosed this, but I actually have had issues with my right hand and have had to have steroid shots in it because I get incredible pain in my hand. And it's been fine for a while now, but cutting the leather itself using the scissors that they told me to use really messed up my hand. But I got it all cut. I've cut it twice because I accidentally messed up the tooling on some of the panels of the first go around, and I got it painted, I got it tooled, and so I had all my panels, and I have been going back and forth for a while on, do I go ahead and sew everything together now, or do I add all the dazzling then sew it together? And I came up with the conclusion that I should sew it together now and then do the bedazzling afterwards, and that's mainly because gold leafing, the kit I use, is not super flexible. So I want the corset to be in the proper shape first, and then I'll apply the gold leafing. So all my panels are flat, but when I sew it together and then form it, I'm going to heat shape it with my body heat. That should add all of the curves into it, and then the leather will hold the curves from then on out. So I want everything to be in its proper curved position before I do the gold leafing to prevent any cracking that the gold leafing might do. But I have been looking at my paint job, and I have just, I don't know, I think seeing the paint on the leather has made me wonder if I chose the right material. I could make this out of a nice satin and put together an underbust corset super quickly, and it would look really pretty and well finished, because I know I can pull that off. Corsetry is kind of one of my specialties, so I know I could pull that off. And working with leather, this is a whole new medium for me, and I've been doubting my skill the whole time because it's new, you know, you gotta learn things. And there's a phrase I've been seeing go around recently that was like, once again, I have discovered that the process of trial and error includes error. And I've been feeling that a lot. So as early as Wednesday of this week, I was thinking about scrapping the leather altogether and making it out of fabric. So maybe I should just remake it in a thinner leather, finish both, and decide which one that I like. I've also thought about just finishing the one I've started and then doing another fabric one and then deciding, because I have a lot of pressure on me, all because of my own thoughts, that this has to be perfect, because I really want to compete and have a chance of placing in the Crown Championships at C2E2 next year. At least that's the one I think I'm going to go for. And I just saw the C2E2 competition recently, and it was fierce. Actually, a friend of mine competed, and I didn't even know she was competed. Ice Entertainer. She looked amazing on stage. Go follow her. I think that she is just a wonderful cosplayer. I've just been having some doubts that I'm not going to be able to pull off this leather corset in the quality it needs to be crown worthy. At the same time though, it's not finished. It's barely half finished. I don't even know if I'd call it half finished. It's not half finished. It's like foundationally done, and there's still a lot of work to do on it. There's some reshaping, there's molding, I have to sew all the panels together, I have all the bedazzling, I have to make the lace that goes around the top of it. There's so much left to do on it that I feel like I'm giving up too early. And so I decided to try and sew the panels together and see how I feel. And I started sewing the first two panels together, and it was not easy. It takes a lot of finger and arm strength to pull this thick leather together into the shape that I'm trying to mold it in simultaneously. And I got the first two sewn together, and I was just like, I don't like this. I do not like the way this looks. It just looks awful. But then I convinced myself to sew the next panel on. I was like, maybe it's looking a little better. And then I sewed the next one together. I'm like, maybe this is looking better than I thought. And then I sewed the next one and the next one, and I have half of it sewn together, and it is being pushed into the appropriate shape just because of the pattern pieces that I made, and I'm feeling better about it. I'm still uncertain if this will be the final piece that I make, if I'm going to remake it, if I'm going to, I'm sorry, I can hear my cat playing with her toy in the hallway. I still don't know if this is going to be what I use, but I've decided to finish it out fully, mold it, and then see how I feel, because seeing it sewn together in this shape makes me feel really good about it. The lacing, when I sewed these two pieces together, these were the first two I sewed together, and I saw this lacing, I was like, I don't think I like that at all. And I put the next one together, I'm like, I actually think I like it. It adds nice detail to what was a rather plain surface. And the front panel is still incredibly flat. This will be molded. I'm going to try and use my body heat to mold it into the curve that it needs to be. So all of this should round out nicely the way I'm thinking. And if I have any stubborn pieces, I am going to wet them and mold them wet in the places that need the curvature. I was testing it on something I've already painted, and it doesn't seem like the paint curls up at all if I wet the back and remold it. So theoretically, I can do that and get it into the proper shape. So the front is not representative of the shape it will be in, but the sides, we have this beautiful curvature that's coming out here and wrapping around. We have this nice flare that is coming out, and these pieces are curving together quite nicely, and I'm feeling I'm feeling a lot better about it. So I am not certain if this will fit me the way I need it to because I have lost the weight. If I have to take anything off, I'm going to take it in the back and see. This back piece is a bit messy. It was more or less a test piece, so I do have to repaint part of that. There's actually several places I want to repaint because some of the pieces of leather that I didn't notice around, like little fine pieces of leather, they were still on my table. They got mixed up in some of my gold paint, and so we have some bumps in here. So I'm going to finish sewing this up, and then I'm going to try and lightly sand out some of the bumping and then repaint where I need it to. I do have some like highlights dry brushed in that I will probably have to redo. I think I'm liking it at this moment. I do have to trim up the top and a little on the bottom, which is to be expected. I'm not super great at making foam patterns. I was fully expecting to have some offset pieces that would need to be trimmed. So I did do all the beveling and the edge coat and stuff. It's unfortunate, but it's okay. I'll just go ahead and trim everything up and then probably burnish it by hand, then do the edge coat again. I did not actually properly finish the top of the panels because that's all gonna be covered with a lace that gets flipped over, so I was not too concerned about that. But you can see my tooling that mimics the design in the artwork. So I'm actually going to be gold leafing all of these diamonds, and then I have some beads or some sort of like pearl trim. I think I'm going to actually outline the diamonds in. All of the little beveled, all of the tooled parts that are these little half moons, I'm going to, even in here, those are also going to be gold leaf, so there'll be some reflection. Everywhere there's these little divots, these circular divots, I'm going to put gems, and then I'm going to take this strand of gold and pearls that I have, and I think I'm actually going to outline the stripes. I do have it tooled, but I'm not super happy with how some of my tooling turned out, so I think I'm just going to run the pearls down the edges of the gold stripes and probably down some of the center, because I can see some of where I marked out my lines, I can see some of the scratching into the panel. There is a repair gel I can get to fill those in, so maybe I'll get some of that and try to correct it, or maybe I'll just add some more stones or something, but we'll see. So that's where I'm at with my leather corset. I'm going to finish lacing this up, which I have to take breaks from because, like I said, it does hurt my hand and it's kind of exhausting. It takes a lot of effort, but I'm going to get the rest of this laced up, and I'm going to heat mold it and then work on fixing up the painting and any nicks that I see, get the gold leafing done. And then I do have a final part that I need to make, which is here. So these are the cutouts that I had originally planned to have buckles going across the top 3 parts. However, I forgot about that when I cut in the holes for the stitching, so that's why you can see those, but those are going to get covered up anyway, so I'm not too terribly concerned about it. But I decided that I was going to go ahead and put in a corset backing in the back just for extra durability. Getting in and out through these buckles just seemed like maybe it wasn't going to be the best way to do it. And when I was sewing this together, I really needed to force everything to the proper curve, and the buckles I did not trust to push things into the curve I needed it to. So I decided to sew those points together, and then I'm going to make the buckles anyway and then sew them on top. They're going to be false buckles. They're not going to be usable, but it will cover up these seams a little bit and add a little extra niceness to it. So I don't know, what do you think? Is this gonna be crown worthy? I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like in any other competition it's probably fine, but with it being something as incredibly difficult as crown, I don't know. I was also starting to second guess the holes you can see for the lacing. Like, can I cover those up? Do I like it? I don't know. I don't know how I feel, but we'll see. I do have quite a bit of cleanup to do, and I guess if I have to remake it, I have to remake it, and I will cross that bridge when I get there. But for now, this is what I have for the underbust, and I'm actually kind of proud I made it this far because this is my first thing that I have ever made out of leather, except for a bag during a workshop at DragonCon where Jennifer May Nichols taught me how to do some tooling with leather and how to sew it. So this is the most complex thing I've ever made out of leather, and really the second thing I've ever made out of leather. So I'm actually proud of what I've accomplished. That's where I'm at with this. So this next week I will be continuing to do the gold leafing. I have the rest of the panels to go. It's mid-April and I still haven't stopped on this. Honestly, I was feeling very inspired by working on the corset. I do need to update Ravenna. I still don't know if I've gotten accepted into the MomoCon contest or not. I need to check the dates of when. I don't know if they've actually said when they would announce it. Didn't get accepted into the MomoCon contest, and I feel like there's no point in updating my Ravenna. I'll just leave it as it is, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to spend probably the rest of the month working on my Sakizo, and then if I haven't heard from MomoCon, if I got accepted into the contest, I just need to actually update Ravenna. So I'll probably spend a week doing that, but for now, that's where we're at. All right, so with that, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, drop your comments in the comment section below, and subscribe for more content from me. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.